I'm in the woods and I'm ready to have some fun with Saran Wrap. If you guys are new to the channel, my name is Woke1. I'm an artist from Connecticut. And today I'm going to be building a Saran Wrap wall between these two trees. I've seen a lot of artists online do it. I've never done this myself, but what could go wrong, right? Let's see how it goes.
Since I've never done this before, I thought it'd be smart to wrap the Saran Wrap around the first tree a couple times until it catches on itself, and that way I could drag the Saran Wrap across to the other tree. But just how much Saran Wrap would I need? I wasn't quite sure, so just to be safe, I went to the store and I bought 3 rolls. I had a little mishap trying to get it wrapped around the first tree and getting it to stick, but once it did, everything went pretty smooth from there. I just kind of kept wrapping back and forth around the trees. I wish I had a step stool or some kind of ladder because I typically like to have my imagery a little more vertical rather than horizontal. And especially for what I planned out today, I should have found some trees that were a little closer together, but it is what it is.
Step 1 complete. Got my wall done. I'm gonna get an outline on it now, and since we're in the woods, I think I'm gonna do a character from Alice in Wonderland.
Earlier that day, I decided I'd sketch out the white rabbit, and I'm gonna show you guys now. Ignore the lightning bug on the right side, that was for a tattoo. So let's take that sketch and put it up on the wall. The first thing I noticed about painting on Saran Wrap is that it was extremely bouncy. I gotta say, although it was bouncy, I was very surprised with how the paint held on the Saran Wrap. It really wasn't too bad, and to my surprise, it dried pretty quick. But we'll see what happens when I start layering some colors. I also want to point out that this process was super nerve-wracking because it's kind of a one-shot deal. See, when I'm painting a wall, I have the option of painting over it and just kind of, correcting my errors. But in this case, every line counted. Meaning, if there was a line that was a mistake outside of the shape, I couldn't go back and erase it. I also couldn't resize things if they came out the wrong size. So if this character didn't fit and look like he was standing in the woods, the whole thing would be off and just not read well. All I could do was try my best. I mean, after all, at the end of the day, I still had 2 more rolls of Saran Wrap left, so that was the worst case scenario. Just redo the entire wall. Once my sketch was all laid in, it was time to start coloring. I began by basing the face with gray. The paint was holding really well, and I was very curious to see what would happen when I started layering. It's finally time to start layering. To my surprise, this actually worked out really well. The paint was just sticking right to the Saran Wrap and drying pretty quickly. Obviously, just like painting a wall, if you kept the can in one place for too long, you're gonna get some drips. I tried to move pretty quickly and just paint like I usually do, but I was really curious how lining on this surface would work. But we'll find out more about that later. At this point, I was more focused on just basing all my colors and creating some nice soft blends on top of them. I typically use my stock cap, otherwise known as the orange dot, to just color in the basic shapes, but because I wanted this to be super clean and didn't want any overspray on the Saran Wrap outside of the shape of the character, I made sure I used my level 1 cap the entire time. Well, except for some of the stencil cap that comes in a little later for some of those fine details. At this point, you could see that there's a lot of layers on the Saran Wrap, but I was still curious how lining on it would work. And although this part wasn't exactly lining, it was more of shading, it gave me an idea of how lining would work on it, which was actually really well. Things were going smooth for once, and I gotta say it was a pleasant change. It's finally time to give this character some eyes so he can see. And speaking of seeing, have you seen all the merch at woke1.com? There's plenty available, from pins to stickers, phone cases, there's shirts, original artwork, so be sure to check it all out and maybe pick yourself up something today. I really appreciate it. And now we'll get back to painting. It was finally taking some shape. You could see all the layers here and all the blends were finally starting to create the white rabbit. I wanted to make sure that this wasn't rushed, but at the same time I was moving very quickly because I didn't know who could come up at any time and wonder what the heck I was doing in the middle of the woods with this Saran Wrap and spray paint. I gotta say, I ended up getting pretty lucky, and I actually only had one visitor stop by, and surprisingly, they really enjoyed it. They said that they had been hiking that trail forever and that was the coolest thing they had ever seen on there, so I really appreciate the kind words. Unfortunately, when I was all finished with this piece, I did tear it down. I just didn't want anyone to freak out, about the environment and leaving Saran Wrap everywhere, but I wish I could have left it up a little longer for some other people to kind of just walk by and stumble upon it and, just kind of be surprised by it and maybe enjoy it. So maybe I'll do another one in the future. I don't know. This project did definitely get my brain going as far as what I could do and where I could do these Saran Wrap pieces. Stay tuned, because I might do this again, but let me know in the comments if you enjoy this, because I do have some other ideas and other places that I would like to do these Saran Wrap pieces. Anyways, as we're nearing the end here, I just want to give a quick shout out to all my patrons on Patreon. If you want to help support me more, you can always head on over to Patreon and follow me at woke.one. I appreciate it.
All right, I think I'm all wrapped up in the woods for today. Final thoughts. I had some fun. It took a little over an hour and a half, so not bad. I think I would also prefer to paint a wall, but if you guys enjoyed this, definitely let me know in the comments. Also be sure to like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. I think next time maybe I'd like to do something a little more horizontal, or find trees that are closer together so I can do my character more vertical. I don't like the empty Saran Wrap that's like showing, but yeah, like I said, let me know what you guys think. And without further ado, here it is, the final product.